Hello trader, welcome to another weekly Forex forecast for the last week of February 2025. As there will be a weekly and monthly close, we can expect significant movement in the market. As past few weeks was pretty eventful, and we have seen in fact the market moved due to those some of the news that we can see currently as well. The market is pretty volatile due to some political as well as socio-economic news coming in the market, including the calendars also pretty tight this week as well. As you can see, past week was due to FOMC, the market moved a lot, and this week, as there will be a weekly and monthly close as well, we can expect significant movement, and including first week of March also there will be NFP. So in all of them, in line with this, we can expect the market to move a lot for this week as well. So based on that, we can do a complete multi-time frame analysis on DXY, British Pound US Dollar, Euro Dollar, XAUUSD, Dollar Yen, GBPJPY, AUDUSD, as well as US30. So before I begin this important analysis, guys, make sure that you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So with that being said, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. To remain bearish after this initial pullback. Now let's look at the weekly chart to see how the market is evolving now. From the weekly, as expected in our previous weekly Forex forecast as well, DXY to remain bearish, we can see that there is a massive liquidity grab here, drop to that support level, and we have seen another bounce long week candle with this strong liquidity grab. The market made enough drop, and past week also we can see that a bearish doji formation, which is closing as a red narrow weekly candle, can give DXY further downward pressure, and this is an important level of support here. And I think that DXY may continue to drop below this support level. Potentially we can expect downward pressure. At the same time, we can see there is already a move. We might see that now deeper pullback before dropping down again. And as this is the weekly doji, what I think that DXY may initially bounce to break this high, and as every week the market is forming series of lower high, expecting for the market to bounce, grab liquidity and drop back below this support level, potentially to that zone. So you could see a potential bearish price action after initial bounce towards the upside. Dropping down to the daily chart, we can see a daily downtrending market structure. From here, big drop, pullback, another drop, pullback, another drop. The market is forming series of lower high and lower low in this daily price action formation. We can see a narrow green candle here on DXY, and what I think that the market may directly not drop back down further. We could see initial bounce here, as there is a high liquidity in that zone that could lead that price back to the downside again on DXY. So if we look at the intraday perspective from 4-hour time frame, we can see there was a gap open after back-to-back two important doji formation. This is a high liquidity zone, and the price moves from liquidity to liquidity. As you can see, there is also a couple of candles here on the 4-hour time frame grab liquidity. So this liquidity grab might lead that price back to the upside to this liquidity zone, and from that zone you could see that DXY again potentially dropping back down. So this could be the potential wave for this upcoming week on DXY to bounce back up, to retest this resistance, either to create a lower high or a higher high, and then to drop back down to that potentially to this support level with the monthly close or after the monthly close. So expecting in that zone on DXY to bounce and then to drop back down to this support level. So now let's look at British Pound US Dollar to see what kind of trading opportunity we can expect in this instrument as well. Looking at again a monthly chart to see how the market is evolving, we can see that from the monthly, this is the monthly impulse here on British pound US dollar, and we can see that after this monthly impulse, slowly the market is dropping down for a deeper pullback. And as we can see, starting of a pullback, expecting deeper pullback before bouncing back up again. From the monthly, we can expect British pound US dollar to drop initially before moving back up again. Looking at the weekly chart on British pound US dollar, we can see that from the weekly perspective, previous week a narrow weekly candle formation, and with that narrow candle, the market, we can see back-to-back 3 weeks of bullish move here, and this is an important level of support from the weekly. And I think that from a weekly perspective, British pound US dollar may drop again to that support and then potentially bounce back up. So there could be initial drop and then potential bounce again on British pound US dollar. Now looking at the daily chart, where you can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily trend here. From here, a move followed by a doji formation. There is another strong bounce followed by another pullback here. And what we can see that after this daily bullish engulfer, the market, after break of this low, form a narrow red candle, which is a potential rejection from the top. And therefore, we could see that break of a structure here potentially before it bounce back up. So what I think that the long-term uptrend may remain bullish. What we could see for short-term, a downward pressure, breaking that structure and then continue to bounce back up to that liquidity zone. So looking at the 4-hour chart to see how the market is evolving, we can see that here quite a few long week liquidity grab here. So that's the sign that the market may require deeper pullback here, and they may drop back below this support. Breaking any of this low can continue to rise again. So therefore, initially we could see that British pound US dollar remaining bearish upon stronger liquidity grab, expecting GBPUSD to bounce back up to create a new higher high. So now let's look at euro dollar. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this instrument. Looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in this market. Now from the monthly, we can see that this is the monthly price action. From here, pretty strong drop to that support level, followed by there is a monthly bullish candle so far. And as the market currently just getting a rejection from this monthly resistance, expecting for euro dollar to drop further downside for a deeper pullback and then to bounce back up again. So therefore, we can expect initial bearish move here on euro dollar before it bounce back up. Now looking at the weekly perspective on euro dollar, we can see that from the weekly, after this back-to-back 2 weeks of bullish move, this week the market had a fewer bigger move, and we can see that there is a narrow candle formation that has a sign that the market may initially break below before it bounce back up, as there is a potential weak fill here. And we can see the market here creating series of lower high. There is a narrow red candle, expecting euro dollar initially to drop before it bounce back up to break this resistance line. Now looking at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily as well, we can see there is a daily uptrend here. From here, an impulse correction. The market currently on euro dollar is potentially breaking below, and we could see that euro dollar is dropping any of this important low before it bounce back up to create a new higher high. So looking at the 4-hour perspective on euro USD, we can see that this is the 4-hour time frame where there is a liquidity grab, drop, and we can see another liquidity grab, and we can see the market currently again trying to break below. As the price is grabbing liquidity from the top on the 4-hour time frame, we can expect now for the price to potentially break this support level or even deepening further before it bounce back up to create a new higher high. So initially you could see that euro dollar bearish and then to be bullish for long-term picture. So now let's look at AUDUSD. Let's see what kind of price action it is forming. Looking at monthly, we can see that AUDUSD from the monthly perspective, after previous monthly narrow doji formation, this month the market from the support level has made significant bounce, and this is the monthly bullish candle, expecting for the price to potentially, after an initial pullback, to remain bullish. Therefore, we could see that on a AUDUSD, the market to potentially remain bearish here. Now, looking at the weekly chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, there is a long wick candle here. And in the long wick candle from here, there is a big drop followed by this pullback. And we can see another drop, pullback, another drop. We can see the market currently from the weekly perspective cross that 20 EMA and then form a narrow long wick candle. Now this price action is potentially bearish, but what I think that after an initial drop, we could see another attempt from the buyers. So initially we can expect for the market to remain bearish and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily bearish engulfer here, and with the daily bearish engulfer, expecting AUDUSD after an initial pullback to remain bearish here, and we might see the prices coming back down for a deeper pullback before it bounced back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the 4-hour perspective on AUDUSD, we can see that quite a few long wick, back-to-back two important long wick doji here, followed by this is also long wick bearish liquidity grab, and followed by last session also we have seen significant red bearish candle. In that zone, what we can expect on AUDUSD for the market to bounce for a pullback and then to remain bearish for long-term picture. So this is where on AUDUSD expecting for the market to potentially drop back down to create a new lower low. Now let's look at XAUUSD. Let's see what kind of price action it is forming. Looking at the monthly chart on XAUUSD, this is the monthly price action, and in that monthly price action we can see that this is an historically bull market. After this inverted head and shoulder, the price managed to bounce, pull back, another bounce, deeper pullback. It is in another impulsive phase on XAUUSD, and with that impulsive phase, what we can see in this monthly candlestick pattern, the market after a pullback expecting another bounce towards the upside. But at the same time, we can see that we are almost at the end of the month, and as this price is in a strongly bull market, what I think that before the monthly close, we could see that potentially deeper pullback before it bounced back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly perspective on XAUUSD, we can see that from the weekly, this is the starting of this weekly impulse, which is in fact significantly bull market at the moment. And last week we saw a pretty strong bullish price action with a gap open here. So there are two probable scenario. One is for the market still remain bullish, going back up to create a new higher high. The other probability is for the market to come back down from the weekly perspective for a deeper pullback before it bounced back up. So if we look at the Fibonacci perspective from here, this is the starting of this move to the end of the move, and there are probability for deeper pullback as this is end of the week. And in that perspective, we could see that XAUUSD potentially coming for a deeper pullback, as below this support level there is a high liquidity, and with that high liquidity expecting your XAUUSD initially to drop and then bounce back up. So what I think that this week we might see initial downward pressure here to that support level, or even breaking the low and then to revert back up to create a new higher high. Now if we look at the daily chart on XAUUSD, we can spot a very strong uptrending market structure where 10 and 20 MA separated from that zone, and up after that we haven't seen any retest of this 20 EMA. So the market trend is pretty strong, but at the same time we see that there is an exhaustion in this trend that is showing from back-to-back 3 daily doji formation. Therefore we can expect on XAUUSD after an initial pullback for the market, what I think that there is an imbalance here, and before the monthly close we might see that potential retest of this 20 EMA and then could bounce back up to create a new higher high. So looking at the 4-hour chart here on XAUUSD, we can see that the market in this uptrend getting exhausted in that area, forming a potential head and shoulder with a sideways movement. And we might see that initially breaking that resistance, grabbing the liquidity, could drop back again during the news or during the day trading days. And what I think that this might be the situation on XAUUSD, could drop here even to that daily 20 MA or to this liquidity zone, and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. So these are the zone that we can look for potential trading opportunity, and that could be the bias. Also, I will keep you updated, traders, during the trading week with analysis and daily updates. So make sure you stay connected by joining the free Telegram as well as subscribing to the channel so that you are not missing any of the content that I am posting every single day. Now let's look at ENPL. Let's see, first of all, GBPJPY. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this instrument. Looking at the monthly chart on GJ, we can see that from the monthly perspective on GBPJPY, this is the monthly price action, and as expected, we can see the market from this gap open on the monthly after quite a few months of forming series of lower high. GBPJPY managed to break below. There was a gap open. The market initially tested the high, and now the price is forming a monthly red candle. So with that monthly red candle, as the price already broken the support level, we could see that potentially further downward pressure on GBPJPY. Now looking at the weekly perspective on GJ, we can see that from the weekly, this is potentially bearish here, and we can see the market every week forming series of lower high, and past week also maintaining that series of lower high, form a red thick bearish engulfer. And with that red thick bearish engulfer from the weekly perspective on GJ, expecting for the market to come up for a deeper pullback and then to drop back down again to that support level. Now looking at the daily chart on GJ, we can see that from the daily, we can see a very strong bearish price action here. If we closely look at, we can see that there is a daily doji with a bearish move here, which is a strong bearish move followed by a pullback, and with a liquidity grab, we can see another bearish move here on GJ. And last day of trading week, a strong liquidity grab with a break of structure here, and that's a very strong bearish liquidity candle formation from the daily perspective. So therefore, this is a very important support level, could be respected, and we might see that the market is breaking from that level. So therefore, on GJ, expecting for the market to come up for a pullback and then to drop back down again to that support level. Now from the 4-hour perspective on GBPJPY, we can see that in this lower time frame, the market is forming series of lower high here, and with that series of lower high, expecting for the price to go up for a deeper pullback and then to drop back down. So this could be the zone that we can look for potential selling opportunity on GBPJPY for the upcoming week. We could see that this is the potential wave on this instrument. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we may have on dollar yen. Looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in this market. Now from the monthly, we can see that dollar yen is also bearish as expected. We can see after this gap open, the market managed to drop back below that level, and with the drop, we can expect for this market potentially to break and then to create a new lower low. So therefore, this month as well, this week, we can expect dollar yen to remain bearish. Now looking at the weekly perspective, as expected after the previous weekly long wick doji, this week we can see the market gap open and straight has dropped back down, and the price currently below that support level. This is what I exactly expected in our previous weekly forex forecast as well. Now as the market is approaching this support level, expecting for the market after an initial pullback to remain bearish to this support level to create a new lower low. Now looking at the daily chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily resistance line here, and with the daily resistance, we can see this is a significant level of support here on dollar yen, and with that support, expecting for the market to bounce back up for a pullback and then to drop back again to that support level to create a new lower low. Now looking at the 4-hour perspective on dollar yen, we can see that in this lower time frame the market forms series of lower high in that area, and with that series of lower high formation, what we can expect on dollar yen for the market to bounce, potentially to grab liquidity and then to drop back down again to that support level. This could be the potential wave on dollar yen for the upcoming week, as yen pair we might see initial pullback and then potential continuation towards the downside. Now let's look at US30. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Now looking at the monthly on US30, we can see that from this monthly resistance, this is the 4th month the price is respecting this significant level of resistance, and this month as well, after retest the market is getting a rejection. As this resistance is being respected, we could see the market is grabbing strong liquidity before it bounced to break that resistance line. If we look at the weekly chart on US30, we can see that from the weekly it formed a double top here, and with the double top formation, this is the weekly price action where weekly red bearish engulfer, expecting for the market to bounce back up to grab liquidity and then to drop back down again to that support level. Now looking at the daily chart on US30, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily very strong impulse followed by sideways movement. We can see the market was forming series of higher low, and the price completely has broken from that structure on the daily perspective on US30. And if we look at the 4-hour time frame here, we can see after this consolidation pattern, the market completely has broken below, expecting US30 to retest and then to revert back again to that support level. This could be the wave for this upcoming week on US30. Traders, I believe that you enjoyed this weekly Forex forecast for this upcoming week. If you enjoy, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So with that being said, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.